Hey, hi. In this video, we're going to experiment about Linux administrative commands. So here I have huge list of Linux administrative commands that we're going to experiment here from basic to expert level, right? So as you see in the screen, so in the left hand side I have PPT file where I have documented all the commands that you need to know about Linux administrations. That is from very basic to maybe expert level as well. On the right hand side, I have an example Linux command, Linux machine where we can explore about this command or experiment about these commands. All right. So this is Amazon Linux 2023 version Linux machine. On this machine, we're gonna do a walkthrough of these commands and try to have an hands-on experiencing like how does these Linux commands works at the real time in the system. Okay, so first page that I have shown in the left hand side, it dictates about system information. Say that you are interacting with the Linux system. In those cases you might be using these commands. Now in the right hand side I have a Linux system where we're going to experiment these commands, which will actually enable you to understand how does these commands actually behaves in the Linux systems. Okay, the first command is to display the Linux system information. That is you name -a. Yeah, so if I type this one, basically it will give you like the information about the system, right? So currently you see that this is the information that it is giving, right? As I said, my system is Amazon 2023 cross 86 underscore 64, and these are all in the sense it is basically giving the information about the system. Next one, the display the kernel release information. Yeah, so you see that this is to display the kernel release information, which is the same, but if you append with the input called R, right, then it will tell you the kernel information, that is Amazon 2023 cross 86 underscore 64 is the output. All right, now I'm going to clear the commands as I go on. Maybe I'm just going from top to bottom. Next command that we're going to experiment here is show the operating system information such as distribution name and version. Okay, so to do that, what you do is you're gonna go to the path called etc, that is root etc os release. Okay, so for that case we do cat etc os hyphen release, right? So you need to type correct word because remember Linux is case sensitive, so you need to type it correctly. etc hyphen forward slash os release. So basically that actually talks about it actually reads the information present underneath the file called os release. And as I typed, here you go, right? So we have got the output. Now let's go to the next command, that is show how long the system has been running plus load. Okay, so for that case the command is very simple. You might be observing that I'm typing a command called clear. When you do a clear, basically it just cleans the screen. Now we want to show now how long the system has been up and running, right? So that is using command called uptime. So when you type this one, which actually tells you that from how long the system has been created and running, right? I have recently created this system for this video. You see that it has been running from past 27 minutes. Yeah. Next one, show the system host name, right? So you can follow my screen, that is show system host name, right? So for that case, you will just type like host name, so which will tell you what is the host name set on this system. Yeah, then display all local IP addresses of the system, that is hostname -l, right? Instead of just hostname, if you put a command called -l, then automatically it will give you this data, right? So currently it looks like there is something problem. Why? Because it is actually saying that the invalid options, in the sense after typing the command hostname, I was supposed to give these many options, that is small letter a, capital letter A, something like that. Yeah, but I have given L, which is not there. That's the reason it is throwing the error. So in that case, let's give a proper, that is capital letter I, which will actually tells you the IP addresses allocated to this machine. That is, if you want to know the IP address allocated to the system, go to the system, type hostname -I, which will tell you the IP address. Now I'm going to clear the screen again. Let's go to the next one, that is show the system reboot history, that is last reboot. If you type a command called last reboot, so this is basically tells you like from what time the system has been rebooted. Yeah, okay. Next, let's go to the next command, that is show the current date and time. Okay, so if you type date, it will show you the current date, month, everything, right? So every information about the date and time will be shown here. Now last, that is the show this month's calendar. If you want to see the month's calendar, that is, you can also see the calendar present in the system. That is just type a command called cal, and that will show you the output something like this. Now display who is online. Okay, so to do that, what I do is I'm going to just type w, which will tell you that who are logged into the system. Currently I have logged in as a EC2 user. That's the reason it is showing you this command. Next one, who are logged in as who am I, in the sense to this session, to this terminal session, who is logged in as. Okay, so for that case you just type who am I. Yeah, so this is what it shows. Okay, now with this information we have covered very basic system information commands. Now we go to the next command, that is basically hardware information, right? So when you're dealing with the Linux engineering task, you would be dealing with these many options. That is, the commands belongs to a certain categories. That is here hardware information categories. Okay, so first one, display the messages in the kernel ring buffer. To do that, we have to write a command called dm dmesg. Okay, the commands are very difficult. Just say dmessage. Okay, it's a dmesg. Yeah, so if I type this command, you see that currently it says dmsg read kernel buffer failed because operation is not permitted. Okay, so whenever you write a command or whenever you try to run a command on the system, so basically the access to run a certain commands are also depends on the privileges. Okay, currently I'm using the EC2 user. It is does not has access on the kernel. That's the reason it is throwing the error. For that case, what we do is we're going to elevate ourselves to the root user, that is sudo su hyphen. So if you type this command, what you are happening is you are actually elevating this user itself to the root user. Remember that in Linux system, root user is a nothing but highest privilege. Okay, so and root user has been logged back. So this is what it is showing. Okay, remember that with using the root you can do anything. So when you are using the root command, make sure that you are perfect while executing the commands, or you are already well known about the command what is going to do. Okay, then only you try to run the commands, or else do not run the command in the root. That is a caution. Now for my case, we want to display the messages in the kernel ring of buffer, right? So for that case, now I'm going to run that command, that is dmesg. So if I run this command, you see that it is actually retrieved all messages in the kernel ring buffer. Okay, so this is what you see, that it is has retrieved everything, dmsg. All right, so now I'm gonna go to the next command, that is by clearing this command. Yeah, clearing the screen. Let's go. So remember that I'm walking from top to bottom. So now we have done with the dmesg. Now display the CPU information. Okay, so you want to get the more information about the CPU, that is which company this CPU processor belongs to, what is the core, blah blah information. If you want to get it from the Linux system, you need to write a command called cat proc / the CPU info. So basically, root basically / proc, in the sense there is a root directory that which starts with root. Underneath the root directory you have a proc folder. Underneath the proc folder, if you go to the CPU info and do a cat. So basically cat is a command in Linux which actually reads the content of a file. Okay, so that is what you see, right? So we want to know the information about our CPU, and that's the reason you see that we run this command called cat proc CPU info, and it has given, right? So you see that vendor is genuine Intel, in the sense this is the Intel core processor. Yeah, and then model name is this one. It has given all the information that you need to know. Okay, so with that we are done with the CPU information. Now let's go to the memory information likewise. So for that case, you need to do the same process, but here the file name will be different. That is mem info, right? That is memory information for your information, right? So once you type on this one, it will actually get you that what is the memory, what is the size of the memory, what is this, that, and all. Okay, so this is nothing but very hardware informations will be provided, in the sense detailed hardware informations of the memory can be fetched with using this command. Okay, so now we are done with this command. Let's go to the next command, that is display the free and used memories. Okay, this is often commands which is basically needed for an Linux administrator or Linux engineers. So let's see what is the command that you need to use to display the free memory from the system. So for that case, just type free. Let's see what does it tell you. So basically, if you just type free, it will tell what is the total size of the memory, what is used, what is free, what is shared, what is buffer cache and available, blah blah information. Okay, along with that you can also pass certain input to this command. That is, remember that whatever the first word that you are typing, that is a command, and after that whatever the input that you are giving, that is actually basically parameters that actually manipulates the output of the output of the particular command. Think like that, whatever I have said, so think that the command has parameters like that. Yeah, so here it can support lot many parameters, that is H for human readable, M for MB type, yeah, so G for GB type. Yeah, so for example, say if I do minus G, which is actually tells you 0 because our memory is less than 1 GB. Yeah, or let's say you want to say hyphen H, which is human readable. So human readable is nothing but so it will talk you, it just gives you the output which is understood by a human, right? That is total memory is nothing but 949 MB, which is less than a MB, that which is less than a GB, and that's the reason it didn't give an output here. Used is 137 MB. Yeah, so this is how basically, remember that free is a command which using that you can retrieve the memory usage information. Now let's go to the next command, that is display display PCI device. Okay, so for that case we have to type a command called lspci. lspci is a command. For before that, let me clear the screen. Let's run a command called lspci and then hyphen tv. So if I type this command, this is actually getting a displays the PCI devices information. Yeah, I'm not a hardware engineer, but in some cases you need to be hardware engineer kind of, right? So in that case you can get with this one. Let's go to the next command, that is if you want to display the USB devices attached to this system. Okay, that also you can get it by running a command called lsusb hyphen tv. Yeah, so it says lsusb command didn't find. Okay, so basically when you are logged into any default Linux systems like Amazon Linux, Red Hat, Ubuntu, or say like Debian, SUSE, right? So these are all the flavors of Linux machines. When you go to these machines, they machines by default certain libraries of the commands. Certain commands you need to externally install and make them usable. Okay, so for that case, so whenever you see that that potentially the commands not found, in that case what you can do is you can try like a command called yum install. Yeah, yum install is nothing, yum is nothing but it's a library. It's basically a library or a command which will install packages in the Linux system, which is nothing but under the hood it is installing the softwares on the system which will, through which that you can take a help of the particular software. So here command line utility, it is nothing but it's a software on the OS through which you can interact with the OS. All right, so now yum install is nothing but ls USB. I'm just trying it. Okay, so I don't know whether ls USB so is basically we can install on the system or not. So let me do like yum install lsb. So it looks like that there is no library called lsusb that you can install. Okay, so for that case we can just ignore and go ahead to the next command, that is right. So this one lsusb you can try to discover from your system, discover from your side and try to understand about this command. I will be sharing this the PPT in my GitHub, and the GitHub link will be shared in video's description. You can find it from there, download it from there and use it for your purpose. For now, try to understand what is how does this commands behaves. All right, the next one is display the DMI SMB IOS. Okay, so basically it actually retrieves the hardware information from the from the BIOS. Okay, so for that case I'm going to type a command called DMI decode. Okay, so let me type DMI decode again. So again we are hitting the same problem, that is DMI decode command not found. So for that case what I do is I'm going to install DMI decode utility in this system and then I'm going to run this command. Yeah, so for that case DMI decode. Yeah, so DMI decode. So yum install DMI decode. You see that when I type a command called yum install DMI decode, so this is yum install is nothing but it's a way to actually install the packages on the system. Okay, so yum install, or you can, so for since I'm already in a root user, so I'm directly going to the yum install. If you are not in a root user, you can use sudo yum install like that. Yeah, sudo means you are actually elevating the current session to the privileged session like that. So here, it is asking for me to confirm, do you want to install this package or not? Okay, so I will confirm it by typing Y, and you see that, the DMID code is installed. Now you try to run that command. Okay, before I run the command, let me clear the installation and let's run the command called DMID code. Now it is giving the input. Okay, that is amazing, right? So earlier DMID code command didn't give me any information. Now after installing that, it is retrieving. Okay, so that's the magic of Linux systems that you can do. Next one is show the information about the disk. Okay, so before that, I'm going to clear this screen. Next command, that is show information about disk SDA. Okay, so for that case, we need to type a command called hd parm. Okay, so hd parm. So so basically Linux is all about remembering the commands and understanding the command, what command can do. Okay, and also having a logic thought in your brain, like at what time, or basically it's basically common sense of at what time you need to use what command. Okay, remember this is Linux system, so we need to be very careful while you are using elevated privilege like root command. So here show info about disk data, disk SDA. Okay, so for that case we need to write a command called hdparm -i root dev /SDA. So if I type this command, it is actually complaining again that is hdparm is not found. So again, let's install this command, that is hdparm. So what we are doing is we are actually following the same method that we followed for DMID code. So let's install hdparma. So if I type this command, it again complained me that hdparma. So basically I typed the command wrong. So it's not HAD, it is hdparm. So it's hdparma, is it? Yeah. So hdparm, if I type this one, it has the library. In the sense, remember that whenever you are typing a command called yum install, Linux has a capability to go back to the libraries which is stored somewhere else in the internet, and you will download those libraries in the system and try to install the packages locally in your system, and from there you were elevated to use those commands. All right, so here we are installing hdparma. I'm just installing that command. Now we have installed this command. Let's rerun that hdparm command again. We should be able to see the output from there now. Here you go, right? So now it has identified that there is invalid command. So let's try to rerun, that is hdparm I. Okay, so let me retype the command, that is hdparm. Yeah, if I type this one, so it has this one, hdparm and dev. Okay, so we have a dev, and then SDA is there. So if I type this command, it says HD. Okay, so basically it looks like there is a sum, in the sense show the information about SD, in the sense this system does not has SDA disk. Okay, and that's the reason it is throwing the this command, that is hdparm. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next command, that is perform a read speed test on a disk HD. So if you have SDA disk, you can do this with using hdparm. But for now, since I don't have HDA, so this is like since I'm using the AWS Linux machine, so it does not has a SDA disk. But for now, to help you to understand how does this command behaves, so we are actually running this command. Yeah, so currently you see that it has read something, that is from this one. Yeah, and it has retrieved. Okay, so with that we will go to the last command, that is test for unreadable blocks on the disk SDA. So for that case, you can type a command called bad blocks. Okay, so command is very nice, that is bad blocks. So type command. Let me clear the screen so that you can understand the the commands clearly. That is, keep watching my both the screen. Okay, so I have divided the screen into two. One screen talks about PPT or command. The other screen is nothing but our Linux terminal screen, and where I'm actually experimenting these commands. Okay, that is bad blocks. So here we are actually doing bad blocks. Bad blocks -s -sda -dev -sda. So let's do dev -sda. Yeah. So if you do this command, basically what it is doing is it is actually checking your disk and try to identify, is there any bad blocks on the SDA, right? So standard disk are nothing but those are all the blocks of memories. So when you run this command like bad blocks, right, which will actually run so carry against this disk, and tries to identify if there are any bad blocks on it one. So currently you see that it is doing the job. So for this case, you need to go on a wait. Okay, so I will go on a wait and come back once this is goes in 100%. Okay, so after waiting for certain time, it has run the command, and you see that currently it has not added anything. Okay, so basically once you run this command, you need to wait until it goes the 100%, and if there are any bad blocks on this disk, that will be listed here. All right. Okay, so with that we are done with the chapter number 2, that is hardware information. Let's go to chapter number 3. So the chapter number 3, it talks about the performance monitoring and statistics. Okay, so if you want to do any performance monitoring of your Linux system and do some certain statistics, right, that you can do with using these many the Linux commands. Okay, now let's go from top to bottom. First one, display and manage the top processor. Okay, so what are all the top processors consuming in this system? You can do that with using command called top. Once you run this command, what actually does is it actually lists the top to bottom, in the sense in a descending order. It will show you that so which are all the commands are being run, which are all the processes are running in this system. Okay, so I just typed a command called top. You see that it has listed PID, that is processor ID. User is root. This is the PRNI. So okay, and then you see that the command that is we typed it. Yeah, and it will tell you the processor name. Like you see that the system ID, blah blah. Okay, so now remember that top command is nothing but it's a continuous execution command. To come out of this continuous execution command, try to type Control C. You need to do again Control C, right? So both the key has to be pressed, or else what happens is this top command keeps on monitoring the the top processes belongs to the system. Okay, again I'm typing Control plus C, then I'm getting out of the top command executions. All right, so with that we're done with the first one. Then let's go to the next one, that is interactive process viewer. So for that case, you type command called htop. So it says htop command is not found. Okay, so that is nothing but interactive process viewer. Okay, let's try to install this the htop. Check if we can install this. That is m install htop. Here you go, right? So we found that htop utility module is there, so we're going to install that htop in the system. Yeah, so then it's asking me this is okay. Yeah, and then here you go, right? So we have installed htop. Now we try to run this command, that is htop again. It should give us a response. Here you go, right? So this is giving very nice view. That is basically it's a clear vision of earlier whatever we saw, right? So here if you see, there is a CPU, how much CPU has been consumed, that is 0.7% of CPU has been consumed, and 144 memory is consumed out of 144 MB memory is consumed out of 950 MB, and this is the SAP. Okay, so here you see that there is a diagram, right? Basically it is telling you in the form of a visualization. Okay, this is very nice. So basically remember that install htop and type a command htop, which will actually show you like how much CPU is being used, what is the memory is being used, that we can do with using this. All right, again, so if you want to come out of, there are lots of options are being given here, that is help, setup, search, filter. You can do it, but for now I'm going to type again Control C to come out of this. Okay, so I just typed Control C and then it come out of the htop command. So I'm going to clear it off now. Let's go to the next command, that is display the processor related statistics. Okay, so you want to display the processor related statistics, you can type command called mp stat. Then you need to type 1. Remember that this is mp stat 1. So I'm going to type this command, and here you go, right? So it is actually displaying the processor related statistics, in the sense how your processor is being used. So that percentage will be calculated here. Okay, this is very nice visualization in Linux system. You see that it actually tells you like how your processor is being consumed, right? That's why it is called as a display the processor related statistics. Okay, now I'm going to come out of this command again by typing the command called Control plus C. Now let's go to the next command, that is display the virtual memory statistics. Okay, so here read here, that is display virtual memory statistics. So for that case, you just type vm stat. So vm stat and then type 1. Okay, so this is 1, not L, this is 1. So when you type like VM stat, basically it will display the virtual machine related statistics. All right. Okay. Now let's go to the next command, that is display input output statistics. Okay. So for example, say majorly when you are working with virtual machines, you would need to deal with the memory CPU. Okay, so remember more commands related with the memory and CPU and disks. Okay, so MP stat is for displaying the processor related statistics. VM stat is for displaying the virtual memory statistics. Displaying the IO statistics, in the sense if you want to display the input output statistics, you can do a IO stat. So basically stat is the command which actually displays the stat, and then type IO stat, which is actually tells you that so what is the statistics output. Okay, all right, so this is very nice visualizations. I'm going to hit and control C and come out of this loop again. We go to the next command because we have a very long files. Let's go to the next one, that is display last 100 syslog messages. Okay, so you want to list out the 100 latest syslog messages. So for that case you can do tail hyphen 100, right, and then go to the path called root var / log, then messages, yeah, and then type enter. So it says currently I don't have, if I do ls hyphen l sorry ls, if I do ls, so currently I don't have any file folder called var logs and messages, and that's the reason it is not giving the output. But in your system, if it has var logs and messages folders, it will automatically use. Okay, so it says for Debian you can use var logs. Okay, all right, so let's go to the next command, that is capture and display the all packets on the interface eth0. Okay, that is ethernet 0. Yeah, that's what it is. So we're going to clear this off. That is TCP dump. Okay, so TCP dump. So TCP dump hyphen I. So I'm just hitting this command. It is actually telling that TCP dump. Okay, so did I type the command correctly? TCP dump hyphen I. So basically it tells TCP dump options requires hyphen I, and then TCP dump version is this one. Okay, so then this is the usage. So this is how you can use the devices. Okay, let me try to install this TCP dump if it is not there, for just for my purpose. So let me go and install this. So now I'm going to install TCP dump, TCP dump. So once you install this TCP dump, basically it's nothing to do because it's already installed, and we are supposed to explore the command called TCP dump hyphen I, then ethernet 0, and type this enter. Basically it says TCP dump ethernet has no such devices, in the sense this system does not has ethernet 0. That's the reason it is not able to get the TCP dump on that ethernet. Okay, so next one we will go to, so likewise you can do that. Let's clean off this screen and go to the next command, that is TCP dump ethernet 0. I typed that. So what did I do is I'm gonna, so basically if you type up arrow, it will take you to the last command. If you do type the the down arrow, it will take you to the, in the sense you do your arrows, up arrows, down arrows, make use of up arrows and down arrows, it will just take the last command that you have executed on the system. Now you want to filter out something on a particular port number, right? Say port 80 space 80, you can do like this. It will try to filter out. Okay, in our case there is nothing is being written, that's the reason it is not able to find such a ports filtrations. Next one, that is list all open files on the system. So if you want to list all open files on the system, you can do ls of ls up. Okay, so this is how it will show you, right? That is lsof. All right, so I'm gonna come out of this one again, just to clear it off. Right, then next one, list files opened by a user. So let's say lsof hyphen u user. I'm just tell user. Okay, so there is no user. This is basically you can do EC2 user. Okay, so I'm just going to make it as an EC2 user. EC2 hyphen user. Yeah, so these are all the files being opened by EC2 user. As you remember that in the last couple of few minutes back we were in EC2 user session. Now that user has, when we type a command called lsof -u EC2 user, it actually displays all the files opened by that particular user. All right, So I'm going to clear this off now. Just type cls or clear. We have to do clear. It's not a Windows that you can use cls. Just to say clear, it will clear the screen. Now we have seen the files opened by a particular user. Now see that on display the free and memory use. In the sense, htop is one of the command that you can use it to display the the processor information and the memory information. Now again, if you want to display the free memory usage, you can also go again and try to execute free, which we have already did it. That is free memory. So if I go back to the previous slide, in the hardware we have already experimented that h free. Now in the hardware, so basically memory and CPU are also considered as a hardware, right? So and that's the reason we are actually executing that is free edge, which we already experimented. Next one, execute df-h showing the periodic updates. Okay. So for that case, let's say df. So df is a command which will actually tells you what are all the disks are there in the system, how much is the memory, and what is consumed, like that. Okay. So when I write the command df, it sees that file system, in sense files, that is a dev temp file system. We have xvda file system, right? And the total size and user size informations will be available here. Now you want to watch it, in the sense make it like a lively streaming one. In the sense, if you want to watch what is happening on these this one, you can also do this one, this which is actually it's lively explains you what is being done on your systems. Okay. All right. So I came out of that command, that is watch df. All right. Let's go to the next command, that is on the fourth file, that is actually the next one, that is. So here user. Now we are done with the chapter 3. Now let's go to the chapter number 4. In chapter number 4, we will see more about the commands related to the operations, that is user information and management. Okay, so when you are dealing with the Linux system, you also play a role of user management. User information management. So that is, these are the commands related to that. You can try to explore it now. Let's explore now. That is, display the user and group IDs of your current user. Okay, for that just type ID. So it actually explains about the root user information. That is something you can see it here. Next, display the last user who logged into the system. Okay, that is using the last. If you type the last command, it will tell you, like, who are all the persons have logged into the system. One is EC2 user reboot. Then so we basically you did, these are the users, right? And then we go to the next command, that is show who is logged into the system. So in the sense, who is currently logged into the system, right? That is EC2 user has logged into the system. Next one, show who is logged in and what they are doing. So if you want to explore that command, you can just type W. It is actually tells you that. You see that EC2 user has logged in and they are using the, basically you see that they are using the privileged access. So all these information. So in the sense, you see that there is a what they are doing, right? So that is, they are actually doing the SHSD. You see that they have used a sudo user, in the sense they are into this sudo session. That's what it is telling you. Okay, so now we are done with the couple of commands. Now let's go to the next command, that is create a group name test. In the sense, generally you can create a the admin groups in your system. Not admin groups, it's a security groups in a system. You can create it. So like group, type group add space and run command called test, which actually adds a group in your system. Yeah. Similarly, create an account named John with a command like John Smith, and create the users in a home directory. Basically, this is one of the scenario that you can try to run the command like this. That is, so for example, say above we have seen how to create a group. Now create an account and with a certain command on it. In the sense, when you are adding the user, you are also need to provide what is some information or metadata about the user. So for that case, user add, and then put a C, that is command, and say like I will say cloud quick labs demo, right? So I'm giving this custom command comments, and then put -m, that is basically the say like name John, right? So here I will say like Lee. So we are adding a user called Lee, and comment is something like this. Yeah. So once you click on this one, it will add a user to this system. Okay. All right. So next one, that is you can also type ID now. Let's see what is happened. So this is ID. Okay. So basically now we have added these many information, that is we added a user like this. Okay. Let me clear the screen. We go to the next command, that is delete a user, that is who added, right? So we have added we added Lee, so let's delete that Lee. That is typing a command user delete and type space Lee. You see that the user got deleted, that is user del, then you typed the username and that got deleted. Okay, next one, add the John account to the sales group. In the sense, if you want to add to this user to a particular group, then you can do that. For that case, we need to again create a user. Okay, so for that case, let me go back to the above command, that is which we executed. This is, let's add a user again. It says that user, in the sense the user warning, that is the home directory, this user is already exist. So user delete, in the sense delete the John account. We have deleted the account, but the copy of that is still exists. Okay, so that is not copying any files from the this one. Yeah, but if you want to add, let's create another account called Lee1. So we created a user Lee1. Remember that when you are creating a user, give a string only, without give, do not give any spaces. Okay, Linux does not like spaces, if I am not wrong. Okay, next one, that is to add the user, to add the users to a group, we do, okay, let me clear the screen, and we do user mod. Then you give the command, that is basically -a user add to a group, user mod group. So the group that we created called test, and add Lee1. So it basically adds a user Lee1 to a group called test. Okay, this is what the command does. Okay, all right, so this is the command that we executed in user information and management. Okay, so with that, we are done with the chapter 4. Let's go to the chapter number 5. In the chapter number 5, we have a very huge commands, and that's the reason the size of the commands got very smaller one. That's fine, because I'm running those commands in the right hand side screen, that is in the terminal. Here in this chapter 5, we will look at certain commands, that is deals with the files and directory commands. Okay, first one, list all files in a long listing format. Okay, so this is the very common, the admin activities that you must need to know, that is ls-al. Okay, so if you type this command, which will actually tells what are all the files present in the current directory. Yeah, next one, that is display the present working directory. That is, what is the present working directory? If you want to do that, you can do a pwd, and it will tell you that that is the current present working directory. pwd stands for present working directory. Yeah, and the create directory, that is make directory. So if you want to create a directory, that is you can. So currently, if I do ls-l, that is long list. So currently there are no directories, nothing like that. Yeah, now we're going to create a directory with a command called, I'm going to clear the screen, and we are here, that is create a directory, that is mkdir, and then give your directory name, that is test. Right, once you click on this one, you do a ls-l, you see that the directory called test is created. Now you need to remove the file. Basically, you see that we created a directory. Now remove the file. So you can also create a file. We're going to see that how to create a file down the line. For example, say yeah, to create a file, you can type like touch t.txt, right? So remember that all files have their own extension. Okay, so we are going to create a Python file called t.py. Okay, so if I do that touch space t.py file, now do a ls-l, you see that you have a t.py file and test folder. Now we have a file now. So why did I create a file with using touch command? In Linux, we use touch to create a file, mk directory to create a directory, right? Now we want to execute a command called remove a file. For that case, file has to be existed, or else it will throw the error. So that's the reason I created a file called t.py file. Now to remove the file, you need to run a command called rm-t.py. Remember that rm command is very, very dangerous in the system. Yeah, so it's currently says remove the regular empty file. Yeah, just type like, yeah, just s, and if you do ls-l, and here you go, right? So earlier we saw that t.py file was there. Now t.py file is removed, only we have a test folder. Okay, so we have executed this command, that is the rm file. Yeah, so okay, now next command is remove the directory and its content recursive. Okay, so we have a test folder. if you want to remove this folder plus remove the directory and any content files present underneath that folder, you can do something like this. Okay, so I want to warn you again on using the rm command. Rm command is very dangerous command. So when you are executing rm command, make sure that you are double sure, triple sure. Okay, next one, that is remove the directory with recursive, that is rm. Recursive parameter stands by r, and then do the directory name. So our directory name is test, so you do rm hyphen r and test. Okay, that is remove the directory, then you say s, then it actually removes all the directory. If I do ls hyphen l, there is no directory available now. All right, so we are done with the remove the directory recursively as well. Next one, that is remove forcefully remove all files without prompting the for confirmation, right? So till now, when I was executing remove file and remove directory, it was prompting me for confirmation. Okay, because linux by design, linux is very secure, and it is actually wants us to confirm on the commands before you execute it. Okay, and for that sake, it is actually prompting the for confirmation. Now what we do is we want to remove it forcibly without a prompt. So for that case, you can do like this, that is let's try to create a again file and folder, and then we try to use a force command now. Okay, force parameter now. Yeah, so let's create a file called touch t.txt. Yeah, and then let's create a directory called mkdir dt. So we created t directory and t file. If I do ls hyphen l, now you see that we have one directory and one folder. Let me clear it off. Now we are using no force parameter. Okay, so for that sake, I am using rm hyphen f, and then give the name of the file, that is t.txt. You see that now it didn't prompt me anything for confirmation. If I do ls hyphen l, sorry, so this is wrong command. So ls hyphen l, now we have only directory, we don't have any file. Okay, so likewise you can also remove the directory as well, that is by running a command called rm hyphen f. The directory is t. You do this one. So basically, yeah, so if I do ls hyphen l, so currently we have a directory called t. Yeah, so this one, that is forcefully remove the directory recursively, right? That is, we need to add why it is not throwing the why it is not deleting, because remember that deleting the directory always needs a r folder. Okay, so r command. Okay, so for that case, I will do command called rm hyphen r recursively forcibly, then delete the folder. So if you do this, we are actually done with the folder. All right, next one, that is next command is copy file to file. Okay, so basically, so when we deal with the files and directory, basically we also deal with a certain command called copy, in the sense copy from one file to another file, copy from one directory, one file to one directory, like that. Okay, so now we will see that how to deal with those operations. For that case, I need to have a file called two files for the sake of demo. So I'm going to create a file called test.txt file. So test.txt file, and then we're going to create a test1.test2.txt file. So you can create a multiple directory, multiple files in a one command, that is with using touch with the spaces. If you do ls-l, which actually lists the whatever the files and folders present in the current present working directory. So this is what we are getting. You can also make a one directory called mkdir and create a directory that is test.dir, and you do ls-l, it will show you there. Okay, so basically, if I do ls-l in this session, now we have one directory and two files. Now with using that, let's try to experiment the other command, that is copy file 1 to file 2. So for that case, I will just run a command called cp file1, that is a test dot do a test.txt. You can just try to write the name of the file and click on a tab. Automatically it will detect that it is actually detects the file. Yeah, so I will gonna do test2. So basically what we are doing is copy the content from file 1 to file 2, like that it is. So if you do this command, it says, do you want to overwrite? Yes, I want to overwrite. And this is how basically you are doing. So if you do this is how you are doing the copy. So if you do a ls-l, you see that the content of test1 is now copied to test2 like that. Yeah. All right, so next one, we go to the next command, that is we saw copy file1 to file2. Now next one, that is copy the source directory recursively to the destination if the destination is exist. Copy the source directory into the direct destination, otherwise the create a destination with the. So basically what is happening is, till now we saw how to copy the files into another file by using O, right? Now here you want to do with the directory, since if you want to do the same operations at the directory level. So how to do that? Okay, so for that case, if I do ls-l, we have only one directory. Let me create another directory, that is mkdir make directory, and let me call it as testdir2. And if I do ls-l, we have a two directories and two files. Now what we do is, if you want to execute a copy command, in the sense if you want to copy a complete directory, so in that case you can type a command called cp-r, and then you do so yeah, I need to know the name of the directories, that is testdir, right? So for that case, now we do testdir, and then you give a space and type the destination directory, that is testdir. In the sense, remember that cp is the command, this is a source directory, and this is a destination directory. Yeah. So likewise, so we do run a command called source and destination. Okay. Yeah. All right. So testdir. So in the sense, here we need to type a command called cp-r, our source directory, that is testdir. Yeah, and then destination directory testdir2, and hit enter. Basically what we have did now is we have executed copying the directory from another directory. All right, that is cp-r source directory and the destination directory path. All right, or just name of the directories. All right, so we now clear the screen. We done with that command. Next command is to remove, basically rename or move the file 1 to file 2 if the file 2 is existing in the directory. Move the file 1 into the directory file 2. So basically you want to move the file 1 to file 2 like that. So in that case, we do another command test now, that is the mv command. So remember that rm is for remove, mv is for move, cp is for copy, like that. Okay, so here file 1, that is test.txt 2. So basically we're going to move this file test1.txt to test2.txt, right? So for that case, test2.txt. So if you see here, it is actually, basically it is just like a copy, you can call it as in terms of file. So I will say s, and then automatically it has copied, in the sense it has moved the file. You see that what happened is, basically remember that there is a difference between cp and mu, right? cp is just copies and it will retain the source file. When you do a move, basically that will actually merge the two files, in the sense you will lose the source file here, right? So we run the command, that is move test2 test.txt to test2.txt, and then you see that we have only one file called test2.txt. okay, so that, remember that before you do this, run this command. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next command, that is create a symbolic link to link name. Yeah. Okay, so for this case, that is create a symbolic link to link name. Yeah. So for that case, ln, I'm just going to type this command, whatever we have taken in this document, that is ln-s /path path to file. Yeah, /path to file. So this command I'm not going to execute right now, because if I do ls-l, yeah, so this command is basically so this one is create a symbolic link to the link name. Yeah, so this is something like that. So what we do is, you need to run this command by using ln, that is creating a symbolic link, ln-s. Then in our case, you need to provide the path of the file, right? So the path of the file test2 is local path only, that is present working directory only. So let me just give test2.txt, and then say give the link name. Okay, the link name is, I'm just going mojo, right? So this way you have created a symbolic link to this file called file name. So if I'm gonna write this command, you see that there is a symbolic link has been created. Earlier when we have created ls.-l, there were no symbolic link, but now you have created a symbolic link of the particular file by running the command ln. Yeah, likewise, let's go to the next command, that is create an empty file and update the access and modify the modification time of the file. Yeah, so now what we do is we're going to create a new file called, yeah, say like touch new dot java file. I'm just going to create a new java file and just say ls-l, and here you go, right? So we have a test2.txt file, we have a one symbolic link, we have a new .java. Yeah, so now what is the command is, so we have learned how to create a file using this one. Now view the content of file. Okay, so to view the content of file, what you can do is you can type command called cat test2. So if you do cast test, in the sense it just trying to go to the folder test. Yeah, that is test2.txt, right, which is actually, you know, which actually lists what is there in the file. Okay, so for this case, to make you understand, what you need to do is let's edit the file, in the sense let's add something into the file, and then we do a first we will add something to the file, and then we're gonna do a cat. Okay, so that you understand that when you type a command cat, it actually reads the content of the file and tries to output. Okay, so for that case, to add something into the file or edit the file, you can do a vi and say test2 dot say like test2.txt file. So what is the vi? Vi is nothing but that is, the visual editor, something like that. So with using the visual vi, you can actually add certain commands or contents to a particular file. With using the touch, we created a file. With using vi, we are actually can edit the file. Yeah, so here to edit the file, again you need to do basically the insert I. So you can do a type I, and then try to add something like this, that is blah blah thing, and then what you do is then you can do a shift basically like this. Yeah. Okay, so basically um so here you need to do escape. Yeah, this is wiq. Yeah, so what we do is, for now we're gonna come out of this just like this. Yeah, that is to come out of this, I'm just gonna, what we do is just add some content, we save the file, and then we have to come out of that. Okay, so for that case we need to run a command like, okay, now we have added some dummy content into this txt file. We need to save this file and exit safely, right? For that case, you need to type escape here, and you see that automatically there is a insert operation on this command has gone. Now after that, you need to type the colon like this and do wq, that is write and quit. So once you do this, then what happens is basically you have added certain things into this particular file. Now you can try to run the command, that is test2 dot, yeah, so sorry, it's a test2 tab. Yeah, so test2.txt file. Here you go, right? So now that file contains something which we have written. That's what I wanted to show here, right? Okay, so with that we are done with the test. Next one, that is browse through the txt file. If you want to browse through the txt file, you can do ls less file less and type the file name. Okay, that is test2. Okay, I think caps letter has come, so we will use test2 dot txt. So when you do this one, you can browse the file like this. Okay, let me do come out of this command, that is this one. Yeah, then put enter. Yeah, then yeah, so first one what we do is we have done like a browse. Okay, now we can do escape of this command. Okay, so control C, escape wq. All right, so when you run this command, that is less test2.txt file, what happens is, you are in a browser mode now. To come out of that browser mode, what you can do is you can type yes again, whatever we did, right? That is colon, that is escape colon. Yeah, basically what we did is we have typed certain command, right? That is control C. Yeah, when you do a control C, and then here you can type like colon and say like wq. Yeah, so basically once you click on control C, it will come to the bottom of the file. Do colon and click on q, it will come out of the the browse. Okay, so with that we are done with the less command as well. Let's go to the next command. That we have to go very long mile. Next one, display the first 10 lines of the file. Yeah, So for that case, you can do a head file name, that is test2, and do like this. Okay, so basically it will display the top 10 lines of the file. Currently test2.txt file does not has 10 lines, so we're gonna just run this command. Next one, so head is for displaying the top, the lines from the top to bottom. Likewise, if you want to read the file from bottom to top, right, so in that case you can do tail test2 test2.txt file, right? So this is how we gonna do it. Okay, so this is just like getting the the first 10 lines, getting the last 10 lines of the files. You can do something like this. Next, display the last 10 lines and follow the lines. Okay, so basically follow the file as it grows. Okay, like that. So for example, say this is the one other interesting command, that is tell -f and then the file name. Yeah, so this one, if I type this one, you see that it will actually displays the last 10 lines of the file and follows as it grows. In the sense, if somebody is trying to edit this file, and you can also basically do a the trailing of that. Yeah, all right. So with that, we will go to the next command, that is all right. So with that, we are done with the chapter number 5, that is file and directory commands. Okay, yeah, and this was very lengthy and it is really important to learn. Let's go to the next command, that is next chapter, that is basically, yeah, so here okay, so here I'm going to go to chapter number 5, 6. Okay, 6. So in the 6, we will look at process management. Okay, remember that in chapter number 5, we are dealing with the process management. Okay, so when you are dealing with the Linux administration, you will deal with the process management as well. Now, let's see what we're going to do it here. So here, first one, display the current process running. Okay, so in the now in the sense, whenever the system is been up and running fine, that is Linux system. So by default, the Linux system has the processes running under the hood. Okay, now you want to know what are all the process running, how much is they are eating the these resources, and you want to get the more information about the process. Then you need to deal with this process management commands. Now if you type just ps, basically it will list all the processes that are running currently in this session. You see that there are sudo process is running, sc process is running, bash is running because we are using that terminal, right? So that's the reason bash is running. And we are also running processes called ps because we run the command ps, right? That's the reason it is. Yeah, and the PID is nothing but each process in a system has its own unique ID, and that's what the data is being given here. Okay, next one, display all the current running processes on the system. So currently it is running only this one. If you want to display all current running, then you can do ef -ef. Yeah, I typed the wrong command, so let me retype it again. That is psef, right? So ps-ef is nothing but it will retrieve all the processes running in the system. Yeah, so when a system is running, it has so many processes are running in general. Okay, and I know all these processes are listed here, if you see here. And when we did just ps, it is actually listing the processes belongs to this terminal. Yeah, but if you do ps-ef, which actually list all the processes belong to the system, this is what we got. Next, we go to the next command, that is display and manage the top processes. Okay, so remember that while we are dealing with the the hardware information, we run a command called htop and top, right? So that's where we also learned about the listing the processor information as well. Now if you type top, it will actually list you all the processes running as well. Yeah, now we go to the next command, that is likewise I'm going to clear this screen off. The next command is interactive process viewer. In the sense, htop is just like a static one. So if I just type top, it actually telling you the information about your system, right? You see that total processes, total tasks, one running, 108 sleeping, 0 stop, zombie, CPU usage. Okay, so all these informations are being provided here in this in this top command. And down the line, it is actually listing the list of processes being running in the system. Right now, you want to do something very interactive type. Okay, so in that case, you can use a command called htop. So htop is basically very interactive process viewer. So when you write this, we have already saw this command, that is in the hardware management. You see that it clearly gives you more views about the the very detailed views about the processes running in the system. That is htop. Yeah. All right, so here you go, right? So if you see here, we have a CPU, we have a memory swap, and then all these informations about the processes. One more interesting thing is so basically command that it is running is also being listed. You have a processor ID listed, you have a user listed, you have a lots of data being listed here, and also you can also play with this htop command by running these commands as well. Now what I do is I'm going to come out of this by typing command control plus C. I'm going to clear it off. Let's go to the next one. That is, if you want to kill certain processes with using the processor ID, you can do that. So for that case, let me just type ps. Now let's say that you want to kill any of the processes. Okay, I'm not going to kill any processes because it will going to kill my session as well. So if you want to stop any processes, that's the reason we use a word called kill. Okay, so type like kill, and then you can give a PID. So here we have a PID. So you need to type a PID like 3141 and click on enter. Basically, it will kill the session. Okay, so kill that particular process, right? So currently we cannot kill in the process because my session will get killed. Okay, and I have to continue with the next the chapters as well. So likewise, you can you can either delete the kill the process by using the ID, or kill the process with using this name, that is with the process name, that is ps bash su, like that. Yeah. All right, so that is how we did processes. Okay, now let's go to the next command, that is start a program in the backend. In the sense, if you want to run the program in the backend, so you can do like this, that is program, and type command and, which will actually makes the program running in the backend. Yeah, so if I type this command, it actually it says there is no command something like program is not found. Yeah. So what is the start a program in the backend is, for example, say you want to run a very lengthy script, that is bash script, which will run for more than 4 hours or 6 hours. And also you also need to do, during that time you also need to do a certain administrative job. For that sake, you also need a terminal session for your user access, right? So in that case, you can make that job running in the backend while you are using the terminal as well. So in that case, you can do a program ampersand, that is and condition, and then automatically that will take the process running in the background. All right. Okay, next one, that is the display the stopped background jobs. Okay, so if you want to display the stopped background jobs, you can do like bz. Yeah. And then then the bring the most recent background job. In sense, if you want to bring the most recent job, you can do a fg. Okay, so these are very important command. Remember that if you want to run certain program as a backend, you're going to use program ampersand. Then you're going to use the if you want to see the the recent displayed jobs, you can do bc. If you want to see the bring the most recent job, that is you can use fg, right? Bring the jobs, that is nth foreground jobs, so you can do fg space n, which will actually display the n number of foreground jobs. Yeah. All right, so with that note, we have walked through the process management chapter. Now let's go to the next chapter, that is seventh chapter, that is file permissions. Okay, this is very interesting one. So when you do ls-l, you see that there is a something interesting, that is it tells about some string with the name like d or wx, right? So basically there are 4 permissions, that is read, write, execute, write, like that. Yeah. Now each file present underneath this directory has a certain permissions. In the sense, the combinations of these letters, that is r, w, x, d, it actually the combinations of this actually tells what are all the permissions that you have on that directory, right? For example, say new.java. On the new.java file, I have full permission, that is I can do read, I can do write, right? I can also do delete as well, that is not a problem. Yeah. So similarly on the directory, so you see that when it is a hyphen, that means that it is a file. When it is a d, which means that it is the directory. If I can select this one, the letter starts with d, which means it is a directory. On this directory, what are the permissions I have? I have a read write permissions. This is a file, and in this file I have a read write permissions, like that. This is a link. Okay, this is, remember, this is a link, so it starts with the l, and I have a read write and execute permissions on that. Yeah. Likewise, now we will see how to add a permissions to a file, like that. So if you see permissions and examples, okay, for example, say, so this is UGW, right? That is user, group, and world, right? So that is the combination it does provide. That is the first three combinations of this. That is, this is the, if I go back this, this is the first three, right? The first three, let me do from here. So on this new .java file, so there are the three levels of permissions have been provided. That is on user level permissions, on the group level permissions, and on the world level permissions. Okay. So on the user level permissions, that is starts with the first three characters. That is R, W, and hyphen. In the sense, on the user, I have only read and write. Next, on the group, in the sense, group has a read write permissions on that one, and then world has a R hyphen happen. In the sense, it does only have read permissions only. Okay. Now in the directory, if I select this directory, so this is a directory. On the directory, a user has read, write, and execute permissions, and then the group has read and execute permissions only. Hyphen means no permissions. X means execute. R means read. W means write. Write means, in the sense, you can actually delete and add some content like that. Yeah. And the last one is world. In the sense, world has read hyphen. In the sense, it does not has write, but it has execute permissions like that. Okay. So that simple it is. So we have explained you this one. Yeah. Then let's see if you want to add some permissions to the file. So how do we do that? Okay. So for that case, we use a command called chmod, that is change mod, plus is nothing but add some permissions. That is, say like you want to add some execute permissions on this file. Okay. So if I go to this file, that is new.java file, for my user, it does not have execute permissions. Okay. So for that sake, what we do is, now we're going to add execute permissions to that new.java file. By default, any file does not has any execution permissions. We need to add it explicitly. So I did add, X is nothing but I added user with a certain execute permissions. Now let me do ls-l. You see that new.java, right? So earlier it was for users, in the sense, the first three characters of user, right? So earlier it was just read write. Now it has added X, and after that, so first one is, always remember UZW. In permissions, you need to remember UZW. U stands for user, G for group, W for, basically world. So first three characters are for user, second three character is for group, last three character is for world. Yeah. So here we have added execute permissions, and then the rest all is same as it. That is yeah. So basically group also been added with the execute permissions on this file, and then the world also been appended with the execute permission. In the sense, when you add a chmod command on a particular file, you are actually giving execute permissions to all the three of legends. Generally, you see that the legends are user, group, and world. Okay, that's what it is. So with that note, we have shown you about file permissions in the Linux administration. Let's go to the next command. Anyways, this file I'm going to share you in the video's description. You can find it from there and try to use it. All right, we go to the next command, that is networking. So networking is very, very important, the part of the Linux administration. Now we will explore certain things about Linux administrations, right, with respect to the space of networkings. Here, first one, that is display all network interfaces and IP addresses. Okay. So if you want to display what is the IP address, you can just type IP. Just type IP, it will tell you, whether the command that you written is correctly or not. I will say IP-A. So when you type IP-A, it will actually give you the IP address information, that is like IP config. You can also write IP config. So it says IP config is nothing but, it's an external binary, that you need to install and use it, which we will see in a time. You see that. But if you just type IP space A, it will actually telling you the IP addresses, and all those networking informations are being of the systems are shown here. Yeah. Now I tried IP config, it didn't install, right? Let me install IP config. Okay, let me try to install. I install. Yeah, before that, let me clear all so that you can visualize it clearly. Now I'm going to install IP config. Install IP config. So we are actually IP config. Okay, so this is IP config. So it says it's not able to find IP config. Yeah, which we can leave it for now. Let's go to the next command. But if you want to, know about the IP address configurations of the system, you do IPA. It will give you all the information that is, that is completely it's private IP address. It's everything information is been provided here. All right. Okay, next command is that is display the Ethernet 0 address and details. Okay, so for that sake, let's execute this command, that is IP ADE, that is IP address show dev Ethernet 0. Yeah, so if I type this command, it says device Ethernet 0 does not exist. Okay, so this system does not has, but if you want to display the Ethernet 0 address and details, you can do IP address. Yeah, that is IP address and show the dev Ethernet 0. Yeah, like that. Next one, query or control the network drivers and the hardware settings. Okay, so for that case, you can do eth tool eth 0, that is Ethernet 0. Right, so eth tool Ethernet 0, it's basically Ethernet tool eth tool, you do Ethernet 0. Okay, so this says netlink error, in the sense it does not has any devices. Yeah, so basically, since this is a the cloud Linux system, some of the networking commands may not run it here, but this is how we're going to experiment in the we're going to actually do a hands-on experiencing. But when it comes a real-time troubleshooting session, these will be working for sure. eth tool eth 0 is basically, it's a netlink error, it says no device matches with the names. Yeah, so basically this command has run and it has returned the data, like the node, no data. Yeah, so if I run only eth tool without giving the the Ethernet data, so does it gives, it says it does not give. So because if I do eth tool hyphen h, that is human readable, it actually, so when you do h is nothing but it gives you more information about how that command can be used. eth tool, it's actually eth version is 5.1. You can give the the eth tool flag device name. Yeah, so basically it just a help about the command. Yeah, that is command hyphen h, if you type it, it will give you information about how to use that command. Okay, next one, that is ping ICMP host. Okay, that is if you want to ping any system, in the sense this is a one Linux system, you want to ping to the another Linux system, you can do that with using command called ping host. Okay, so if you do ping host is nothing but another one device. Yeah, this is nothing but say like 0.0.0.0. Yeah, let me say like google.com. Yeah, I'm just gonna hit to the google.com. So what you do is you're gonna ping to the server, that is google.com, and here you go. Right, so it has responded. Okay, so ping, then your server name or the host name or IP address, you can give it, it will try to reach it, because since my system is reachable to the internet, it can ping to the internet server. Yeah, all right, so I can stop this by typing a command control C. Next, go to the next one, that is display the who is information for the domain. In the sense, if you want to get more information about the domain, you can do who is, then give google.com. I'm just gonna give that fqdn google.com. So it says who I command does not find. Okay, so for that case, let's try to install this who is yum install. I'm gonna do m install yum install who is. So it's gonna install who is. I'm gonna install this now. Yes, yeah, and then I'm gonna clear. So we install the who is, it says who is, and then we're gonna give google.com. Basically it has retrieved the information about who is this. Okay, yeah, so that was the we have seen, that is who is domain, that is the domain name, you can give it. You can also get the more detail about that. Yeah, this is google domain. Okay, so this is google.com and you got this many information about that google. All right, okay, so we are done with the who is. Now let's go to the next command, that is display the DNS information about a domain. That is okay, that is dig is the command which will display the DNS information. So dig, and let me call the google.com again. So display the DNS information of this particular google.com. Okay, this is what you can do. Yeah, in the sense, you do write a command dig, then you give a DNS name that will display the DNS information. Similarly, let's go to the next one, that is reverse lookup of IP address. In the sense, you can do a reverse lookup of IP address using the dig hyphen x, then the IP address. Okay, that is my IP address is 172.31.6.120. This is, I'm just trying to use the my IP address itself. Okay, let's see if it can return something. Here you go. Right, so it has written something, that is we are actually did reverse lookup. Okay, so dig is nothing but you are doing a the domain name. Okay, in the sense, display the DNS information. So you did dig. Now you want to do a dig with using the IP address, you can do it, but you need to use x command in front of. Yeah, and this is what we did. All right, Okay, let's go to the next command, that is display the DNS IP addresses from the domain. So if you want to display the IP address from the domain, okay, you know google.com, but you don't know the backend IP address, right? So how to do that? So you can do host and then give a google.com. So host google.com. So if I type the google.com, it is actually resolving into the public IP address. And you see that the Google Mail is handled by this one. So something like that, it is responded. Okay, that is displaying the DNS IP address from the domain name. In the sense, if you want to get the the domain name, you can do something like this. Yeah, IP config. If I do IP config of google.com, I'm just trying something that is. Let me see if it works. Okay, forget about this. We are done with the host and give the domain name. It will give you the IP addresses. Next one, display the network address of the host name. Yeah, so when you type host name, it actually tells you the name of the the host, that is the name of the machine. If you input it with the I, it will actually give you the IP address of the server, that is where you are actually running the command, right? And then display all the local IP addresses of the system. Okay, so if you put -I, it will just give you one IP address. If you type the I, that is caps I, it actually pulls you all the information about the system. Okay, the next one is, that is if you want to download something, in the sense to download the certain files, you can use wget, and then you can give the URL of the download. Okay, for example, say you want to download a file from a cloud storage, say like S3 bucket, Azure storage account, or say like Google storage, right? So in that case, you can do wget and give the URL, that is here is the URL link. Automatically it will download the it will automatically download the content from the file. Okay, for now I don't have any handy, so for that case I'm not gonna run this command, but I can fail this command by running something like this, that is https://www.google.com. Yeah, so basically it does not download anything, but we can try something like google.com. Yeah, so once you type this command, basically it actually, yeah, so I'm gonna complete this. Here you go, right? So basically it's tried to download something, but it has nothing to download. But in your case, if you want to download a file, you can do a wget, then give the URL of the file you want to download, it will download. Next one, display the listening TCP and UDP ports corresponding to the program. So if you want to list all the TCP and UDP ports, you can do a netstat. That is, yeah, I'm going to clear the screen first, and let's display the listing TCP and UDP ports corresponding to a program. That is netstat -n utlp, right? So basically it will display you that the listening TCP and UDP ports. Okay, here go. So we have TCP listening on this ports, TCP6 listening on, we have a UDP ports as well, right? So this is basically netstat the nutlp, that is nutlp. If you type that, it will tell you the listening TCP ports informations. All right, okay, so with that we are done with the very basic networking commands on the Linux system. Yeah, now let's go to the next chapter, that is archive files. Okay, so whenever you actually deal with the Linux system, you also deal with the archive files. So we have let's see so how to deal with the archive files in your system. That is first one, that is tar. Okay, so create a tar named archive file containing in the directory, right? So tar is nothing but basically it's kind of a zipping program in the Linux system. Let's see how we can do that in the Linux. Okay, for that case, basically create a tar named archive file containing directory. Yeah, so for that case, let me run this command as it is, that is star cf archive dot tar space directory. That is yeah, let me see what are the directory we have. So this is the directory, we have a directory, test directory. So let's give that directory, that is tar cf archive dot tar, then give the directory, that is test dir. So this is test dir. Okay, and here you go, right? So if I do ls-l, here you go, we have a tar file got created. In the sense, create a tar named archive file. Yeah, so we created an archive file with using this directory. In the sense, we just created a tar file out of this directory. So for that case, the command that you need to use tar command. That is very simple. TAR. That is tar CF archive file. That is generate this archive file from this directory like that. Yeah. So let's go to the next command, that is extract the content of from the archive file. Okay. So we have a tar file. Now you want to extract the file out of it. Okay. So for something like that you can do that is so before that, let me delete the directory, that is test directory. Okay. So for that case, what we do is we're gonna say like rm rm hyphen r test dir, which will actually delete the directory. So I'm going to say yes, and then if I do ls-l, so we don't have any test directory, right? So now we are good to run command, that is tar exf archive file. So for that case, why did I do is because when you do this removal, in the sense extracting the tar file, in the sense it will create another folder. I just want to avoid the problems there. Yeah, that's the reason I just run the command. That is tar extract fs, and then you say archive. Yeah, just type like archive.tar, which will actually extract the the content of the tar file. And here you go, right? So earlier we don't had tar folder, sorry, we don't have test dir folder. After running tar xf archive.tir for tir file, then we are actually created a test directory, in the sense out of archive.tir file, which is nothing but that tar file contained test directory, and that got extracted when I run a command tar xf. Yeah, so that is what I wanted to show you. Let's go to the next command, that is actually creating a zip compressed tar file named yeah, basically in the sense. So now we will see one more type of compression, that is archiving, that is ending with gz, and that is ending with zz. Yeah. All right. So for that case, let's do tar. Yeah. Before that, we need a reference, right? So for that case, I will run ls-l. So here you have a directory. Here you're gonna use tar xzf. Yeah. So here what we are doing is we are actually creating a gzip file, that is gzip file out of the directory. Yeah. Now we have seen how to create a tar file. Now you want to understand how to create a tar.gzf file. Yeah. All right. So for that case, we run a command called tar czf. Earlier we just said cf. Now it is czf. So tar czf, and then you give name of the file. So let me call it as a t.tar.zz, and then what is the file you want to convert? That is nothing but let's create test dir2. So test dir2. What we are doing is we are actually creating a t.tar.z file, where we are actually wrapping it with using the directory, that is test dir. So if I run this command and if I do ls-l, we should see basically tar.tarz file. Okay. Now we want to extract the file out of it. Okay, let's do the extraction. That is nothing but whatever we did for tar file, right? So for that case, again you use tar x. Just if you do cf, which is actually compresses, and if you do czf, which actually converts the tar file, basically converts the tar.gf file. Now you want to extract, you just need to do instead of c, you use xzf. Yeah, xzf, and then give the. Remember that before you do a xzf, you need to remove the directory. Okay, so let's see what happens this time. That is a tar xzf, and then you give t.tar.z file. Okay, if I do this and if I do ls-l, here you go, right? So we have extracted. That is nothing but it didn't throw an error, but it actually has the problem. Okay, so let me, what I do is I'm going to remove the directory, that is test dir2. So I will just say yes. So we removed everything of test dir. Now let me do ls-l. So we have this one. Now what I do is I'm going to run this command, that is tar xzf. Yeah, tar xzf. Then you give that. Yeah, I need the reference. So for that case, I'm going to run the command, that is ls-l. Now we do tar, and then you do xzf, and then you give t.tar.zz. Yeah. And what we are doing is with this command, we are actually extracting the directory number 2. If I do ls-l, we should be able to see a directory number 2. That's what I wanted to show you, right? So here you go, right? So after running this command, we were able to extract the test directory 2. That's what I wanted to show you. Okay, next one is that create a tar file with the bzip2 compressions. Okay, that is something, it's a different type of compressions. Okay, we saw with the tar file, we saw with the zz file, then we saw with the bz2. Yeah. Okay, so we will also try to experiment this as well. That is basically tar czf, right? So we saw cf, czf, we saw ci, basically ci. This is not a z, this is cif. Um, yeah, basically this is extract the bzf in the sense caf. Then you create a t dot tar dot bz2, right? So cif, that is tar cif t dot tar dot bz2, then the directory, that is our dir directory. I'm just going to give a test directory, so I'm just going to give a test dir. Yeah. Okay, so if I run this command, we should be able to create .bz2 compression as well. So we have created a .bz2 compression. Okay, now let's try to remove the let's not recursively remove test.dir, and then we're going to unzip the bg2, yeah, or extract the bg2, right? So I'm going to just say keep on s. Yeah, now if I do ls-l, we don't have the directory. Now let's extract this, is extract the bzip2 compression, that is with using tar xi, that is basically xcif, and then you're gonna give t dot tar dot bz, right? If you do this command and do ls-l, and here you go, right? So earlier we deleted the test directory, now the test directory got created after extraction. Okay, so we did run command called tar xif tar dot t dot tar dot bg2, that got extracted. All right, so I'm going to clear it off. Now we are done with the archive file. Let's go to the next one, that is basically very interesting one, that is chapter number 10. In the chapter number 10, we are actually dealing with the installing the package. So I have already covered the session of this this one, that is basically how to install the packages in the system, right? So we did saw that there are certain commands, that is htop was not there, so we installed htop which using m install, like that, right? Then we have the dmid code, so that was not available package, so we install that package as well, right? So likewise, you can also deal with those commands with using m, right? So m is the command that you can run it. Yeah, so m search keyword, in the sense if you do search, so this is the search for packages. Okay, so before you install, you want to make sure that whether that packages exist for the Linux or not. Okay, so for that case, you do m search and then give the package. Say for example, say I will say say like xyz. So what you are doing is you are searching. It says this particular file is not found. Okay, so if I do htop, right, and it should say that yes, this package is available, like that. Okay, so in the sense you can search the package like this. To install the packages, you can do yum install. I have shown you this before as well, so we're gonna quickly move on to the next command, that is m install. Okay, so if it is installed, it will tell you nothing to do. Yeah, if it is to install, it can do a install as well. Okay, right. So for example, say let's say you want to search ipconfig. So it says there is no match point, in the sense there is no installer package like this. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next command, that is yum info package. Okay, so if you want to get more information about description, about the summary about the package, you can do m info package. So in our side, we want to do a htop. So you do m info package, so it will actually explain about the packages. Okay, this is very, very helpful information. That is name is this one, version is this one, release is this one. Yeah, and the size, blah blah, the system repository, that is a system repository. Yeah, then it has this many informations. Okay, which is very helpful as well. Now install the package from the local file named package.rm. Okay, so for example, say you have some rpm file. Okay, so in the Linux world, if a file ending with rpm, which means that it is installable file. Now you want to install that installable file, you can do a rpm -i, then your x.rpm file. So you can use rpm file and try to run this like this. Okay, so here in my case, rpm, sorry, my bad, this command is wrong. So this command is rpm -i then do like x.rpm, so which will actually try to install rpm files. In the sense, rpm is nothing but it's a installable file in the Linux. Okay, so if we type this command, this is what it happens. Next one, that is remove the uninstall. Okay, so for example, say you want to remove the htop. Okay, so you can do m remove. Say like you want to remove the htop. Okay, so you can do like this, which will actually remove the this particular binary. This is, it will remove this particular package. Okay, but we can also install this m install again. So I'm going to install it in front of you again. Here you need to agree again, and here you go, we are done with the htop. Okay, so if you do htop, it will also displays the all the CPU memory information about the system. All right. Okay, so we saw how to remove as well, we saw how to execute the rpm files as well. Next, install the software from the source code. Okay, so if you want to install the software from the source code, in the sense, basically when you say source code, in the sense, the source code will be in the form of either tar.gz file, right? So in that case, what you do is you need to follow this form, that is from the tar file you need to extract it, then you need to do this one, then you can basically there are nothing but steps to install the package. Okay, all right, so with that we are done with the chapter number 10, that is how to install the packages, which is very important during automations, yeah, or whatever you want to do on the Linux regarding the packages. These are all the information you must know, that is know about the yum search, know about installing the package, know about the information, rpm, removing the package, yeah, then install the software from the source code. Okay, that is, you have a source code package, then you gonna do unzip that package, go to that source file and do a make and install, yeah, like that. All right, so I'm not gonna this one, that is something which is understood. We'll go to the next one, that is chapter number 10, that is, this is very important when you are doing a log analytics in your system. In the sense, whenever you are actually the observability engineer, if you are observability engineer, or say like if you are doing any the search and analytics, in that case you must know these commands, how you can do a search with using the Linux command. This is very, very important chapter as well. So here we will see deal with the search one. Okay, so for example, so if I do lsfl, so we have a file that is nothing but the test2.txt, right? So if you do test2 dot, if I do cat test2.txt, right, so it has certain information that starts with gh. Okay, now with using this test2tf, we're gonna search in this file, search for a pattern in the file. In this file, let's search a pattern called gh, right? For that case, what you can do is you can do a grep command, that is grep, that is that is global regular expression, like that. Okay, grep stands for global regular expression. Then the pattern, so here pattern you want to search is for example say gh, yeah, and then give the file name. The file name is test2.txt, and here you go, right? So you see that when I did a cat, it actually returned this output. When I did a grep, it actually identified that the gh regular expression is present 3 times. Yeah, now search recursively particular pattern, in the sense, for example, so you want to do that on a directory. So in that case, what you can do is you can do the same thing here, but here you will be adding a -r. So r is for recursive purpose, that is when you are dealing with the directory level, so you would be adding a r parameter. So here we will do test dir like this. Okay, so which is nothing but it will try to identify something is there. Yeah, so for that case, what I do is I will I'm gonna move a file to test dir, then we're gonna do a this one. Okay, so for that case, what I do is I will do m test2.txt to the test dir directory, test dir, and if I do this one, if I do lsfl, here you go, right? So basically test.txt file is underneath the test dir. For that case, if I can do a test dir, yeah, so test that, in the sense, I'm gonna go to this particular path and do a lsfl. So you have a test.txt file. Okay, so what do I mean is, now let's try to do grep on the folder level. For that case, again I have to back to the original one, that is cd dot. If I do lsfl, so this is currently we are in the root directory. Now let's try to run the command, that is grep one. So if I can clean all and we try to run a grep on the folder level. So to do a grep on a folder level, you need to do, that is grep -r pattern, search the pattern, that is H, and give the directory name. Yeah. So if you do like this, here you go, right? So it has identified that the GH is present underneath this directory, underneath this format. Yeah. That's awesome. We have located a pattern in the directory as well. Next one, that is find a file and directories by name. Okay. So let's try to find if file is there or not. Okay. So for that case, you can do a locate command. So locate command is something you can do it. That is, say for example, okay, if I do lsfl, so we have a new .java file. Okay, let's locate that file if it is there in this present working directory. That is locate new .java. Before this command, let me do a clear, and then we're gonna do ls-l. Then you run a command called locate new.java, right? Which will actually tell you locate command not found, which means that this utility may not be not there. Okay, so for that case, we're gonna install this locate. So for that sake, we're gonna do install locate. So we are installing the locate package in this system. Yeah, and here you go. We are done with it. Let's redo again. That is ls-l, and then locate new.java. Right? So it says locate cannot start this one, but basically you see that it says basically locate files and directories by name. Okay, so basically you can do a file. Yeah. So here no such files and directory. That's what it's shared. Okay, so if I do ls-l. Okay, let's try to, it says find files and directories by name. Okay, that is we type locate, then you type new.java, and you do this one. It says cannot start this one. There is something error with this command. Yeah, but locate seems to be working, but this is how you can do a locate. Yeah. All right, so next one, let's go to the next command, that is while that has thrown. Yeah, there are certain commands which basically need some elevated investigation. You can do internet research and try to use it. Okay, but for now we are actually covering more than 95 commands of this of this tutorial. Okay, next one, find the files in the home in this path that starts with this. Okay, for example, so you want to find file in this particular path starts with this one. Okay, so for that case, what you do is we're going to do ls-l. We need to find out a file which starts with a Java. So for that case, I will just say find. I will just say starts with star.java. So what we are doing is we are trying to find if there are any file with the Java. So it says there is no file with this ends with Java file or directly with this Java. Okay, so for example, say yeah. So yeah, basically what we do is we're gonna try to find something else that is yeah. Let me try to re-edit the command like this. That is something like this. Yeah, that is say for example, and do like this. There is no such file or directory like that. It is telling. So if I do like this, that is pwd, right? That is so we need to give the path as well. So for example, say what is the current present working directory? That is root. So let's give like this. That is find new where. So find new in this path, that is actually / root, this one, right? So here you go. It has identified there are files with this particular basically. Yeah, there is no such directory, in the sense it has scanned, but there is no such file and directory with the name like new. Yeah. All right. So, but basically, this is how you can execute. Try to find, in the sense you have a n number of files. You can try to find if this particular file is exist or not. Yeah, like that. Okay. All right. So next one, that is find the largest than 100 MB. Right. So if you want to find the file which is the size, where the size is greater than certain size. Okay, certain size, you can do that. If I do ls-l, so you see that so this is what it tells. Now find a file larger than 100 MB, something like that. Yeah. So for that case, you can do find, and then give the path, that is for such as root. Yeah, and then hyphen size, do hyphen size, say like size. Okay, this is not size, this is size, and then give like a plus 100 MB. say like yeah, plus 100 MB, for example. But currently we don't have any file which is greater than 100 MB, so it should not show anything. So here you go, right? So this is how we can execute the command. Okay, so this is basically, we looked at basically, we heavily use grep. Remember grep, and then you can also use a find command to find the files in the particular path, and find the files with a certain criteria as well. You can do that as well. Now locate is nothing but, you can use this command to look at the files and directories like that. All right. So with this, we are done with this chapter number 11, that is search. Let's go to the next chapter. Okay. So the next chapter is yeah. So this is SSH login, and this is very quick chapter. So in this chapter, we look at like how to connect to the host with using the username. Yeah. So in the sense, if you want to take a SSH from your terminal, in the sense you are already into a particular server, being from the server, you can also take a SSH of the another Linux server. So to do that, you need to use SSH protocol. For that case, you will use SSH host. Okay. So for example, say SSH host name. So for now, what I do is I will gonna use google.com, where you cannot log into that system, but I'm just dumbly I'm gonna try it. So you can do like this. What it happens is you are actually trying to take SSH of the machine, that is google.com. Okay, that is what it is happening. So since the google.com, it is not either machine or it is just a FQDN, right? So it will not take a session and it will get automatically terminated. Yeah. So likewise, connects to your host as a user, in the sense if you want to connect to that host, you can do that. Okay, so I'm going to terminate this. Yeah. So SSH 172 dot, let me use my own machine. Okay, that is 122.66.128. I don't know what happens because currently I'm in this server only. That is, if I type IP hyphen IPA, so it will tell you my server host address is this one, right? Now this is my server address. Okay, remember that. Now to this address, what I do is I'm going to do a SSH, which is not supposed to be done, but I'm going to just trying to experiment it, right? So I'm going to experiment that now against my server itself. That is SSH 172.31.6.128. So if you are doing it, basically, to actually cannot be established because you are already there in the session. Okay. So I'm going to type it like a no, and we are actually key value. Basically, you can try to authenticate from the system, but this is how you can do it. Okay. Another one, if you want to log in with a certain user, predefined user, you can do like a user, that is SSH space EC2, that is my username, EC2 user. Yeah, and then at the rate host, in the sense you can provide the IP address, that is 172.31.6.128. Yeah. So likewise, you can create. So you see that it is actually, this command is actually working. When you are returning this one, something like this, you can actually, which means that the command is working. Okay. For now, I'm not logging in, but this is how I wanted to show you that this is how you can use this command. The aim of this tutorial was to help you to how to use a command. Okay. I'm going to come out of that. Let's clean this up. Similarly, connect it to a port using, in the sense, if you want to connect to a database, you can do like this. That is SSH hyphen port number. That is, say, for example, 22 port, and then give the EC2 user. Yeah, that is your username at the rate hostname. Hostname, that is you can use FQDN or you can use IP address. So in my case, my system IP address is 172.31.6.128. Right. So likewise, you can do. You see that it is actually taking me to that command, which means that my commands are working. All right. Okay. So with that information, what we did is we have shown you how you can take SSH from your server to another server belongs to your network. All right. Okay. Let's go to the next tutorial. That is next chapter of the tutorial. That is basically. That is file transfer. Okay, so basically, this is also a very important topic when you deal with the Linux administration. Okay, so we have seen very expert level activities or expert level command line utilities that you deal with the Linux system. Okay, so this is one of them. That is basically file transform is one of the one. That is securely copy the file to this particular folder. In the sense, you want to copy the file from one folder to another folder, we can use the the file transform or the commands. Okay, so here we are deal with the SCP, that is stands with something like secure copy. that is from one server to another server, you can actually copy. Yeah, so you can only copy if you are allowed to communicate from this server to the destination server. In the sense, say for example, you are using the the SMTP port, in the sense if you are using the SMB file transfer protocol, or if you are using another file transfer protocol, that port has to be opened from your source, that is from your system, to the destination server. Then only the copy will work. Okay, so here we will try to mimic that. So here we'll run a command called scp file, that is, let's say I want to copy this new.java to a server, say like my imaginary server, that is 172. I'm just trying to mimic on my own server only, that is this server, that is 172.31.6.128. Yeah, and then within that, we're gonna go to the tab. Yeah, that is /temp. Let's see if this work. Okay, so basically it says authentication is failing. Yeah, because I don't have allowed it. Okay, so this just means that, which actually means that the command will work if you try to do this one. Okay, and system does also has scp information, in the sense the command line called scp is installed in my system. Okay, so now you can do m info scp. So if you do m, and so we if I go back to the ssh, so here we saw about installation, right? That is installation. So here m info package. Okay, so we did m info, in the sense you see that. So basically the last metadata expiration is happening at that level. Yeah, I just wanted to explore what is that package is all about. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to clear this off, and we continue with the our file transformer chapter, that is file transformer, right? So file transforming, in the sense here, this chapter deals with how you want to transform your file from one system to another system belongs to your network with using scp command. Okay, so we saw this one, the first command, that is. And another one is, if you want to copy all html file, you can do something like this, in the sense you want to copy all files with or starting with ending with .html. Okay, so you can do that by using command called scp, and that is your server. And then after that you are actually going to the var folder, then you are going to the www folder, then going to the the star.html. Yeah, then you are actually copying those files into the tmp folder, that is in your local folder, which means that copy html file from the server to local, in the sense you have a server that is somewhere else in the internet. Say for example, say let's use my own server, that is 172.31 and .6.128. This is my server. We are actually copying all the files called html into this particular tab. Okay, so when it runs this command, which means that it actually working. Okay, so you can try this whenever you have a network being set up. For now, we are looking at only the granular level administration. Okay, that's where we are here. Alright, so with that, we'll go to the next command, that is copy all files and directories to recursively from the server. In the sense, if you want to do recursively, remember that you need to use -r command. Yeah, which is basically it actually copies all the files present underneath this server into this temp folder, like that. Yeah. Similarly, synchronize the homes to the backup, in the sense if you want to say resync, in the sense synchronize the home to backup home. Okay, so for example, say you want to sync the the files and folders present underneath the home to backup home, in the sense from the server home folder you want to resync to the backup folder, you can do like this. Yeah, so let me try this command, that is something like this, that is synchronize home to backup. Yeah, just like that. Let's try this. rsync -a uh, home home space /backup backups /. Okay, so if you type this command, which actually syncs all. So if I do ls, so we have these many files. So if I go to the cd to home, and yeah, cd to home. All right, so currently there are no directories underneath the root. Okay, so we need to go to the root, cd root. Okay, okay, forget about it. But for now, we have run the command called resync. Yeah, resync home to backup, which got synchronized. All right. Similarly, synchronize the files and directories between the local to the remote system with the compression enabled. Okay, so you can also do this synchronization with the compressions by using same command, that is actually the above command with a certain parameter appended to it, that is actually vz. So if you use vz and then you give to the server backup folder, so here you give the server, yeah, that is our server, that is basically 172.31.6. So this is .6.128. So this is what I'm showing you here is nothing but syntax of using the commands. Okay, so if you do this, basically it will copy, and here you go, right? So when we are hitting to this one, so you can you can assume that it is worked. Okay, so for now I'm just coming out of the command like that, yeah. So with this information, we are actually explored about copying the file from your local system to the server as well, yeah. All right, so we go to the next chapter, that is actually disk usage. Okay, this is very important file. So here what we do is we're gonna explore more about disk usage. Okay, so here disk is nothing but, as we have seen already, so in our system, this particular particular Linux system is having certain disk being mounted on this one. Now you want to you know you want to deal with certain administrative activities on this particular disk. You need to know these commands. Okay, this is also an important chapter. If you want to show the free and used spaces mounted on the file, you can do df-h. So you see that on this system we have these many file systems are being attached, which is nothing but disks are being attached. Next one, show the free and used inodes mounted on this. In the sense, if you want to know, show the free and used inodes on mounted file system. Okay, so for that case we will explore -i. So this is what the information it will give you, in the sense like there are certain files and basically certain inodes are being mounted on file system. This is what you can do. Remember, always df is meant for disk free size, disk information exploration command. Okay, all right. So next one is, that is display the disk partition size and types. For that says you can do disk fdisk -1, or say sorry hyphen capital letter I. So if you do that, that is fdisk. Okay, it says that disk help, that is fdisk help for more information. All right, so let's try to rerun the command again, that is fdisk -i. It says fdisk help for more information. Okay, let me do fdisk help. So here you see that there are command, it will actually L is there, capital letter L is there. So we can use fdisk -l. Okay, fdisk is bad, it says that is help. Okay, so here is actually fdisk. Yeah, so this is fdisk f. So let me clean this off and we'll try to rerun the command again, that is fdisk -1. It's not working. fdisk -l, not working. Here you go. So this is small letter L. If you do fdisk -l, which is actually displays the disk partition size and types. Okay, so when I run the command fdisk, which actually says disk, my disk name is devx xvda file, that is 8 GB disk, and it also has these many informations. Okay, this xdv file has a partitions, that is xdv1 to 123 like that, and the size and something like that. Yeah, all right. So this is basically, if you want to display the disk partition size and types, you need to use fdisk. If you just want to know the free size and spaces of the disk, you can just use df. Yeah, all right. So next one is display the disk usage for all files and directories with using human readable. So for that says you want to do very high level, right? So you can do du-ah, which will actually tells you like the disk usage for all files and directories with a human readable format. Yeah, all right. So let's rerun the command, that is du-ah. So du-ah will display the disk usage for all files and directories in a human readable format. Next one, display the total disk usage of the current directory. Okay, so here of the current directory, so something like this, disk-sh, right? That is 68 KB. Yeah, all right. So till now we have seen that remember that df fdisk and du, that is du means human readable format. Yeah, all right. Let's go to the next command. That is before I go to the next command, that is I'm going to clear it off. So in the 15th, okay, now we are in the chapter number 15. So here directory navigations, okay, to go to the, so basically in the sense, if you want to, I think I have already done this one. That is, if you want to move from one directory to another directory, right? So if I do pwd, which means that it will tell you where are you right now. That is present working directory. Now you want to navigate to the some other directory, right? Say for example, so you want to go to cd to home. Okay, so for example, so you want to go to cd to home, and you do a ls, right? So like this, yeah, which means that you want to navigate from one directory to another directory, right? So if first one, here we are in the root directory. Now you want to go to the home directory. That you can do it with using this one. All right. So here, so first one, that is cd, which means that change directory, and you can do like this cd in the sense. Remember that to use the cd, the present working directory has to have that particular directory, or else cd will not work. Okay. So if you want to come back, you can do cd dot dot. Okay. And so if we do again cd dot dot, you will go out of the root actually. And if you do ls-l, which is actually, these are all the file basically. Yeah? These are all, you are actually in the root directory. Yeah. So in the we are actually in a root directory now. Underneath the root directory, we're actually having these many files and folders present underneath that. Yeah. So next one, go to the home directory. That is, to go to the home directory, you can do something like this. Yeah. I've shown you that to use the cd commands to go to the one directory to the another directory. Okay. Cd, for example, so you want to go to the etc. Yeah. So say cd etc, and you do a ls-l, and these are all the directory present underneath that path. Okay. So basically, remember when you say directory navigations, you will use cd, that is change directory. All right. Okay. So with that, we go to the next chapter as we have done with this. So this is a 16th chapter that is actually talks about security, right? Which is actually very important. So here we will explore certain commands which will deal with the security concepts of the Linux systems. So here change the current user password. Okay, so if you want to change the current user password, you can do pass, basically that is pass wd. Yeah. So if you do pass wd, click on this one, it will actually ask you for changing the password. So likewise, I'm not going to change the root password because this is the root password. I'm going to say Control X. Yeah. All right. So basically, if you want to change the user's password, you can do a password wd. Yeah. When you hit the command pass wd, it will take you to the screen where you need to enter the password. Okay. Currently, I'm going to come out of that. That is by typing Control C. All right. Next one, switch the root user account to the environment. Okay. So for that case, now currently I'm in, if I type who am I, so I'm a root user. Now I want to exit out of the root user, that by typing a command called exit. Now if I type who am I, currently I'm a Linux user, that is EC2 Linux user. Yeah. That is EC2 user of this particular Linux machine. Now we're going to experiment the next command, that is sudo I. If I do sudo I, that is switch to the root account with the root's environment. Okay. So if I do sudo -i, so it will take me to the root extension. In the sense, it will take me to the root account login. Yeah. Next, execute your current shell as a root. So if you want to, so let me exit again. So you want to come out of the root account, you can do exit. Now what it says, if you want to execute your current shell as a root, in the sense, so for example, say you want to do certain, we have shown you that, DME decode. Okay. So for example, say, if I run a command called DME decode, which needs a privilege access, right? So DME, and this is DME. We have seen this, the command, that is DME decode. So DME decode, so basically DMI decode, I think. So this is the there are some commands which actually needs high privilege, which so that's to run those commands you can do a DMI decode. So I'm not sure DMI decode. All right. So basically, you see that DMI decode, in the sense, if I run this command, it is actually telling me that there is a permissions denied. Okay. So I wanted to show you that how you can integrate while you are executing a command itself, how you can add the elevated permissions and execute in the current user context only. Currently, who am I? I am a least privileged EC2 user. I'm not a root. But if I want to run a command called DMI decode, that is, if I go above, If I run the command called dmi decode, it is actually telling me permission denied. So to run the command, we can use sudo. You can elevate yourself as a root user and so to say sudo -s, and now run command called dmi decode. So if I run this command, it should able to extract the data. So how it was possible, even though you was in a ECT user, that is actually executing, in the sense it actually elevate your ID. That is, if you see here, you are in EC2 user, that is, you can find it from here. We run the command called su, that is sudo -s, and then we added an elevated command, and that gave me the information, that is actually a BIOS information. All right. So this is how basically execute your current shell as a root. Then list sudo privilege for the current user. In the sense, if you want to list of sudo privileges for the user, you can do sudo -l. So it will listed all the sudo users. Okay, like this. I'm going to clear it off. Let's go to the next command, that is edit the sudo's configurations. If you want to edit the sudo's configuration, you can do which vi sudo. So you can edit the sudo permissions here. Okay, basically, currently this is actually a least privileged user. That's the reason it is permission denied. But if you want to edit the sudo user permissions, you can do sudo su. Then you say vi sudo. So basically, it says user vi sudo does not exist in the entry. That's the reason it is throwing there. But that's fine basically. But if you want to edit, you can use a command called vi sudo. All right, sorry. Let me clear the screen. So we type like vi sudo. Okay. All right. Next one, that is display the current SC Linux mode. Okay. That is, if you want to display the current SC Linux mode, you can actually type the command called get enforce. So if you run the command called get enforce, that is permission. Okay. Display the SC Linux details such as the current SC Linux mode and configuration mode, like that. Okay. That is SCS status, that is SC status. So if you type this command, basically you're going to get the displays the SC Linux details such as current Linux mode and configuration mode, everything. Yeah. So you see here, I type command called SC status. It actually says SC Linux status enabled, SC Linux mount enabled, like that. All these configurations are being given here. Next one, that is change the current SC Linux mode to permission mode. Okay. That is, if you want to change it to permission mode, you can do a set enforce. Yeah, you can do set enforce and type 0. So this is, if you basically it's actually permissions denied because we are now, yeah. But this is how you need to enable the command. Okay. Similarly, change the current SC Linux mode to enforcing. Okay. So you can do so again, if you want to change the current SC Linux mode to enforcing, you can do 1 in front of it. So it actually currently denying, but you can try to run it with using the root credential. It will be working. Yeah. All right. So now let's go to the next one, that is set SC Linux mode for enforcing on the boot by using. These are all the dangerous commands. So I will recommend you not to run these commands until you are confident or until you have tested in a lower environment for your job. Yeah. All right. So for this, now I'm going to skip these commands as these are, basically, these are all the nothing but it actually changing the settings of the SC Linux modes. Okay, that is enforcing the SC Linux mode to enforcing mode. Okay, so if you want to do this one, you can do this one. Yeah. All right. So with that, let's go to the last chapter, that is actually the logging and auditing. Yeah. So I'm going to clear it off. This is like actually the logging and auditing chapter. Okay. So basically, as I said, we are actually dealing with few commands which will help us to for logging and auditing purpose in the Linux system. First one is display the messages in the kernel ring buffer. Okay, so we have seen this command in the earlier. Let's try to run this command, that is dmesg. So when you run this command, it actually says it's not permitted. So for that case, what I do is I'm going to elevate myself as a sudo user, and then we're going to run a command dmesg. So it actually basically displays the kernel ring buffer messages. Okay, this is very kernel level, whatever the the logging is happening, so that information will be logged here. Similarly, I'm going to clear it off. When you are doing a logging and auditing, you generally recommendation is that you will be in a root user because that is a high privilege user, and that's where you can run these commands, that is dmesg. Yeah. Next one, display the logs stored in the system journal. Okay, so for example, say you want to journal. Okay, so you want to display the log stored in the general system empty journal. Okay, so for that case you're going to run the command called journal ctl. Okay, so for this command, okay, so you see that I just run a command called journal ctl, right, and it has displayed the logs stored in a system empty journal. Okay, all right, so there are like lots of line. You can just keep on lowering like this. Yeah, so I'm gonna run basically it actually lists all the logical lines. Yeah, so if you want to do, you can do it, or you can do a control C to come out of that particular command. Okay, so now we have seen how to see the logs of system empty journal by typing called journal ctl. Yeah, then next command is display the logs for specific unit or specific service. So for that case what you do is you can do a so remember that in auditing and logging we use dmesg and journal ctl, right? So journal ctl, if you want to display the logs of a particular service, specific unit or specific service, you can do that. Currently you can do a system ctl. So if I do system ctl, you see that when I do system ctl, basically is nothing but it will actually list all the services running into this service, right? So we have so many services, that is you see that okay, so you see that we have cloud config final service blah blah service. There are 42 services. Now come out of that, do a control C. Now we will see run a system, that is journal ctl. So we say journal ctl hyphen u, then the service name. Okay, so my service name is, for example, say atd dot service. So it says journal ctl cannot command not found. Okay, so I think that I have typed the command wrong. Journal ctl hyphen u, journal. Okay, I missed the spelling. Remember that when you are typing the command, make sure that you are typing correctly. Journal ctl, then this command. Okay, so here you go, right? So basically it actually retrieves all the information about the service. So if you want to display the logs of a specific service unit, you can do a like this. Okay, so I'm gonna come out of this and do a clearance. So what we run is we just run a command called journal, that is journal ctl hyphen u, and then type this service. Basically it will just log the logs of a particular specific service. All right, okay, so with that we have seen a few commands that is needed for logging and auditing purpose in a Linux system. All right, so with that note, I have successfully shown you the complete deck of basically tutorial on Linux administration, in the sense the commands that revolves around Linux administration, which are from basic to expert level. All right, so with that note, thank you very much for watching my videos. Kind request, please do subscribe my channel, that would really encourage me a lot. With that note, thank you, thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.